Dr. Bressler received considerable pressure not to make those invitations. Roosevelt and Norman Thomas were controversial people, at least to many Chautauquans. American leaders, presidents, or legitimate presidential candidates from lecturing here, then Chautauqua did not merit the existence it was struggling to protect. And you know the rest of the story. Roosevelt's lecture was one of his most famous, his "I Hate War" speech. Isn't it odd that Bressler became a hero to Chautauquans following that lecture? And then in 1992, we had the opportunity, by extending our lecture platform into the weekend, to have in Chautauqua presidential and vice presidential candidates Bill Clinton and Al Gore. And considering this a no-brainer, I accepted that possibility, not to the universal acclaim of all Chautauquans, I can assure you. And the visit proceeded to the great interest of 10,000 people who jammed into Vesta Plaza for the event. The name of the site, Vesta Plaza, was very pleasing to me, and I bet to Dr. Vesta. After the age-old query, if a tree falls and there's no one there to hear it, is there sound? My question today is, if one offers a great oratory only to himself or herself in front of a mirror in an otherwise empty room, is it great oratory? Webster defines oratory as the art of public speaking. Underline the word public. The Chautauqua Lecture Platform, what I believe to be the world's greatest lecture platform, was created and still functions not to showcase great oratory, but to make a difference in this land and world through you, the audience. Now, some of you may know I am an amateur American presidential historian, and one of the stories I enjoy the most from my reading comes from the administration of President Lyndon Johnson. Truly a man of action, however you feel about those actions. Johnson had a particular thorny domestic issue to consider, so he asked one of his policy advisors to prepare a paper for him on the matter. The advisor went at the task with great gusto, and then proudly had his moment to present his research to the president. For over 20 minutes, and I might say Johnson's eyes were known to glaze over well before 20 minutes had passed. For over 20 minutes, the advisor waxed eloquent with all of his analysis, all of his research, and the various options available to the president. And when he finished, he sat back tired but exhilarated. A full 10 seconds lapsed before Johnson leaned forward and put his face very close to his advisors and said one word: "Therefore." All great oratory must have its therefore. And a fourth lesson I've learned here with you in this beautiful place has to do with the sheer force of the Chautauqua Institution and how this morning lecture platform is and can be such a reflection and expression of that force. Now, I'm not going to bore you with a PR piece on Chautauqua right now. You've experienced the magic of this place many times, and some of those times have been in this amphitheater between 10:45 and noon on weekdays. But I'm going to let a great Chautauqua lecture make the point about the power of the Chautauqua Institution. Here are the words from David McCullough, offered here on August 9th, 1993. I quote, "Chautauqua, latitude 42 degrees, 13 minutes north, longitude 79 degrees, 29 minutes west, elevation 1,308 feet. Chautauqua, CHAUTAUQUA. It has the distinction of being both a point on the map and a word in the dictionary, an educational and recreational assembly with a program of lectures, concerts, etc." Reads Webster's Third College Edition. But it is more. More of the utmost importance, Chautauqua is a part of the American imagination. It belongs with Concord, Massachusetts, or Hannibal, Missouri, or Springfield, Illinois, as one of those places that help us define who we are and what we believe in. It has its own mythic force, Chautauqua does. And while there have been other Chautauqua, so-called, this is the Chautauqua. There is no place like it, no resort, no spa, not anywhere else in the country or anywhere else in the world. It is at once a summer encampment and a small town, a college campus, an arts colony, a music festival, a religious retreat, and the village square. It is all of these, and it is none of these. Just, there is no place with anything like its history. End of quote. And then McCullough concludes his lecture by quoting a writer called B.J. Gorham. Gorham had not been to a marvelous moment that was. On you go. Perhaps he was reiterating my point about action following rhetoric. On you go. Get going, Chautauquans. Do something with what this place has given you. On you go. Let me now share, just for a few minutes, the McCullough lecture. And he has just spoken so ably for himself and for Chautauqua. And he has defined the power of Chautauqua and this lecture platform. A second great memory, and many of you share this with me, I know, would have to be the third General Chautauqua Conference on U.S.-Soviet relations, held here during the closing week of the 1987 season. In particular, its closing session on Friday, August 28th. During that week, on that day, the Chautauqua Institution had made the point that it had a major role to play in defining and addressing the leading issues of its day. We were no longer a bystanding analyst of our day, however important that role has been and remains. We were a player, not by assuming positions on issues of the day, but by bringing to this place the practitioners of our day, the doers of our day, to speak to each other and to us. That happened here at Chautauqua that week, and it demonstrated the power of Chautauqua and this lecture platform. That August 8th will forever be etched in my memory. Let me just do a sidebar. How many of you were at that conference on U.S.-Soviet relations? Great. At the end of that morning program, I asked all of our Soviet guests, and there were 300 of them had come here from the Soviet Union, and most of them had stayed in private homes, to come up on this stage. And I then asked the audience to say goodbye to them. The roar of applause and cheering and the frequent presence of tears told many others and me that, first of all, the Cold War was between governments and not people, and second, that the Cold War could end. The Chautauqua Institution in 1987 made that message loud and clear, as loudly and clearly as anyone else was making it at that time. Where will the next message be uttered? Perhaps it will be in the arena of the religions of our globe. In particular, how Christian, Jew, and Muslim can better understand and share a nation and the globe with each other. We have such an effort just now underway, Chautauqua's Abrahamic Initiative. Week 6 of this year, World Peace Without Religious Peace, was is an expression of that initiative. And wherever that initiative goes, my friends, Chautauqua can never be timid in its work. This institution, through this lecture platform, has made a difference and can make a difference and will make a difference. Now, another memory is quite different, and it is more recent. And the lecturer's name was Loretta LaRoche. 5th anniversary year. It was an incredible season with many high points. We celebrated ourselves and our history and our possibilities, and we did so with gusto and serious reflection. And into that mood marched Loretta LaRoche. And she made us laugh, and laugh, and laugh, and then laugh some more. She even got me to dance on this stage in your presence, and to put on foolish-looking capes and hats, which, as my wife will tell you, I never do, even in the privacy of our home. But I am convinced that Loretta LaRoche was so successful that day, not because she told a lot of jokes. And that's not her brand of humor. She made us laugh because she was essentially facilitating our need and our ability to laugh at ourselves and the lives we sometimes lead. She took a very cerebral, very introspective, very intelligent audience that sometimes can be a little uptight, but not too often. And she said to us, lighten up. Life is also a lot of fun. And you did. And I loved you for it. And I loved her for being here. This funny woman helped us to see in quite a different way the power of Chautauqua and this lecture platform. It is Catholic in perspective, as open to the casual normalities of one's life as to its intense and lofty moments. End of quote. And so what of the future of this marvelous and powerful place and platform? A future that I shall no longer be a part of its shaping and direction. Well, my admonitions to and requests of you are few in number, but they come from my heart and soul. One of the hallmarks of the Chautauqua lecture platform has been that of balance. We try very hard to present balanced points of view in our program, but we have and must take the concept of balance into more sophisticated levels of understanding than one might normally bring to bear. The easy understanding of balance is, in our lecture platform, is right versus left, or liberal versus conservative, or social activist versus social analyst. And these are very important balances, and do not diminish them. But there is a further type of balance that society needs, and which our program must constantly address, and is much more thoughtful and much deeper. Perhaps Gandhi caught a bit of what I'm trying to say when he listed his 7 wonders of the world. And they don't capture exactly what I'm speaking about here, but I hope they illustrate a bit of what I'm saying. And they are as follows: wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, worship without sacrifice, and politics without principle. inputs and outputs and ideologies and influences, all towards an integrated, effective, and productive life. Somehow that's the kind of balance I speak of that this lecture platform must always reflect. Blend with courage, vision, and with doing, dreaming. For where there is no vision, the people shall surely perish. And before all else I've talked about can happen, there must be a vision for who you are and who you can become. It is not foolhardy to dream. Yes, even if they seem to be very impossible dreams at times. Mr. Miller, said Reverend Vincent, I have a dream. Tell me about it, Reverend Vincent, said Miller. And he did. And when Vincent was finished, Miller said, Reverend Vincent, that's wonderful. But I have something far grander in mind. And here we are, over 125 years later, because of the dreams and the vision of two people. Not a committee, not a commission, not a Congress, two people. Henry Thoreau may have said it better when he wrote about leaving Walden. Perhaps, hopefully, he speaks for me as I now prepare to leave my Walden. I left the woods for as good a reason as I went there. Perhaps it seemed to me that I had several more lives to live. But I had learned this, at least from my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours.